The US Secretary of State Marco Rubio is preparing to fly to India to repair a relationship many have now described as badly frayed. Something extraordinary, however, at the same time happened on American soil. A Pakistani senator stood before a crowd in the United States and openly threatened India. Not online, not in a fringe gathering, not anonymously, a sitting Pakistani government figure speaking publicly in America. Listen to this.
कितनी बार जो है वो पाकिस्तान के अमन को सबूताज करने की हिंदुस्तान ने कोशिश की है, लेकिन अब इस दफा तो ऐसा सबक मिला है उन्हें और ऐसा सबक सिखाया है अफवाज पाकिस्तान ने। वो कहा था ना कि न समझोगे तो मिट जाओगे हिंदुस्तान वालों, न समझोगे तो मिट जाओगे हिंदुस्तान वालों, तुम्हारी दास्तान तक न होगी दास्तानों में।
That line exploded online. If you don't understand, you Indians will be wiped out. And for many in India, this was not just another outrageous speech. This was a Pakistani political figure from a country repeatedly accused of exporting terror, standing on US soil, threatening a nation America officially calls a strategic partner. But what happened next may be even more important. Nothing. No condemnation from Washington, no State Department rebuke, no distancing, no outrage, silence. And that silence is now raising uncomfortable questions in New Delhi. Why does the United States repeatedly allow anti-India rhetoric from its own territory, while simultaneously claiming India is one of its closest allies? Because this was not the first time. In fact, Indian officials and analysts point to something even more alarming. August 2025, Tampa, Florida. Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir attends a black tie dinner hosted by Pakistani American businessman, just hours after meeting US President Donald Trump at the White House, that is. And then came the statement that stunned observers. We are a nuclear nation. If we think we are going down, we are taking half the world with us, quote unquote. That was not a leaked remark, not an off-record quote. It was delivered publicly on American territory. And according to reports, Munir went even further. He reportedly warned that Pakistan would wait for India to build a dam on the Indus River and then destroy it with 10 missiles. He also openly identified India's Jamnagar refinery as a military target. For India, these were not casual comments. These were nuclear threats. And again, the US response was remarkably restrained. A State Department spokesperson merely said America's military ties with Pakistan were important for quote-unquote nuclear security in South Asia. That was it. No public condemnation, no diplomatic fallout. The timing of all this matters because now Marco Rubio is arriving in India, May 23rd, on what many analysts believe is essentially a damage control mission. Even the Council of Foreign Relations reportedly described Rubio's visit as coming in repair mode. And there is plenty to repair, frankly. Over the past year, several developments have deeply irritated New Delhi. Donald Trump publicly claiming credit repeatedly for the India-Pakistan ceasefire. Washington imposed a massive tariff package on Indian imports. And Trump himself repeatedly is praising Asim Munir, the same man India links to the climate surrounding the Pahalgam terror attack in Kashmir. For many Indians, the optics have become impossible to ignore. America says India is indispensable. America says India is central to the Indo-Pacific strategy. America says that the Quad matters. But when Pakistani leaders threaten India from US soil, Washington suddenly goes quiet. That contradiction is now becoming harder to explain away. The uncomfortable reality is this. For decades, the United States has viewed Pakistan as strategically useful. First for Afghanistan, then for counter-terror operations, and now increasingly because of China and broader regional calculations in the Middle East. And that strategic habit appears to continue even under Trump, which is why many Indian analysts believe Washington often avoids publicly confronting Pakistani rhetoric, no matter how inflammatory it becomes, because the relationship still serves a purpose, and perhaps that explains the silence. But from India's perspective, the issue is no longer just about speeches, it is about consistency. If America calls India a strategic ally, should anti-India threats from American territory not cross a red line? That is the question Washington still has not clearly answered. So when Marco Rubio lands in New Delhi, the real challenge may not be trade deals or energy cooperation or even the Quad. The real test is credibility. Can Washington convince India that the partnership is genuinely equal while continuing to give Pakistani officials space to openly threaten India from US soil? Because India is no longer judging America only by statements. India is watching actions, reactions, and even silence. And in geopolitics, silence can sometimes speak louder than words. This is Times Access, where global stories meet India's perspective. Click on the bell icon to subscribe, because the next big global shift, my friends, will have India at its center.
If they had a nuclear weapon,
The old rules are breaking. Alliances are shifting.
Apologize again to the victims of the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
Wars are redrawing maps. Oil routes can shake economies overnight. One election in America can impact markets in Mumbai.
no tax on tips.
One move by China can alter the balance in Asia. One conflict in West Asia can hit every Indian household. This is no longer a distant story. This is our story. Your story. Because for the first time in decades, India is not watching from the sidelines. India is rising. India is negotiating. India is balancing rivals. India is building military strength. India is shaping trade routes. India is becoming central to the new global order. And yet, most global news is still told through someone else's lens. Washington's lens, Beijing's lens, London's lens. But where is India's lens? Where is the platform that explains the world from our perspective? Welcome to India's Axis, a new destination for geopolitics, strategy and power seen through India's eyes. From Neighborhood Watch to the biggest global stories that matter to you. Why tensions in the Taiwan Strait matter to India. How one move by China can affect India's security. What turmoil in Pakistan means for regional stability. How Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bhutan shape India's neighborhood. Why oil choke points can hit your wallet. How wars abroad can reshape India's security. This is not noise. This is not shouting. This is not recycled headlines. This is sharp, intelligent storytelling. Daily explainers, war room analysis, strategic conversations. Because news is everywhere, but perspective is rare. And in the age of confusion, clarity is power. Axis is for the audience that wants more than headlines. The axis of global power is shifting. India is at the center of that shift. It's time the world was explained accordingly, to understand the world through India's strategic lens. Subscribe now.